Okay, so welcome officially, Kim. Really good chat. Let's jump into some practice. We'll have a look at today's email and today's lesson, and maybe do a meditation on the lesson. That's probably what we've got time for. So application closed, preparing live stream. Okay, that's good. We're almost there. Okay. Right, so I'm going to share my screen with you. Let's have a look at today's email. Start off with today's quote. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. There you go. You see that? Kim?
Yeah, I can see it.
You can see it. Great. Okay. So yeah, if you want to read the quote, just to kick it off, kindly.
Proper function of man is to live, not to exist. I shall not waste my days in trying to prolong them. I shall use my time.
Hmm. Quite appropriate given what we discussed.
Yes,
That's how
I
these things
think I
work.
must have seen that
Hmm.
before thinking about
Ah, ah.
this, yeah, topic. Yeah.
I shall use my time. It's a great quote. Jack London, who's an American novelist. Died young, in fact, if I recall. I think he died in his 40s or 50s. He makes the point that your proper function is to live life fearlessly and to the full rather than vainly trying to prolong your life by defending yourself against the perceived threats of the world, which only engenders fear and stops you from living joyfully in a way that expresses or extends love. So I think as you get older, people can get so consumed by, well, I've got to look after my health and health concerns and going to doctors and drugs and on it goes. And just kind of saying, no, that's don't waste your days in just trying to prolong them. Use your time, live to the full, live a joyful, inspired life. And paradoxically, when you do that, then you tend to be healthier because you need to be. You're not getting concerned about, all these ailments of the body, which the ego loves. You need to be fit and strong and healthy because you've got an inspired purpose, and your body needs to be healthy and strong to allow you to fulfill that. So this is your proper function, to allow perfect love to express itself through you in a way that uses your talents, abilities, and life circumstances to the full. Only when we are willing to allow this to happen through us do we find the joy and fulfillment that we yearn for, but we'll never find by seeking it externally or listening to our fears and playing small. A point that Helen Keller makes in a quote that I shared recently, but read it again. It's a really very, very inspiring take on
Life,
life.
life is either a daring adventure or nothing. Security does not exist in nature, nor do the children of men as a whole experience it. Avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than exposure.
Yeah, she says it really well then. So trying to make yourself safe and secure, uh, living in a fearful state is no safer because the fear makes your life a misery, and you're likely to manifest and bring on what you fear as well. And this is why Yeshua repeatedly emphasizes practical application of his ideas through the mind training exercises in the workbook. He wants you to apply the ideas in your life, so you start letting go of the blocks to the awareness of this perfect love and allowing it to flow through you in your daily life. Um, so it's bonus discussion. Did you watch the Shift movie, by the way?
No, was that on the weekend? No, I didn't. I
Yeah.
didn't. Yeah,
Have you ever watched it?
I have a long time ago.
Yeah.
It
It's
was
definitely worth
three
watching again because
parallel
it's all
stories.
about the shift that takes place in the afternoon of your life, exactly what you're experiencing. Okay, so the values of the morning of your life aren't going to see you through the afternoon and the evening once you've had a shift because you're looking for something deeper, more meaningful. Shift from valuing ambition to valuing meaning that takes place in many people in the second half of their lives. And then everything changes. That shift changes your priorities, your values, your focus, your goals, your dreams, your aspirations. Everything evolves from that shift. Definitely highly recommend watching it, given what you're going through as well.
Yeah, well, probably, yeah.
One of those movies I've watched it several times, and there's just kind of grows on you. I'm like, there's so much good stuff in here. You can watch this repeatedly, and you can get inspiration. You can see things you didn't see, and it's woven in really cleverly with the story. So there's the story of three people's lives going
Yes.
on at the same time. There's the film director and what he's going on in his career, and then there's the yuppie couple who are
Well,
obsessed with money and material things, and they have to have a fallout and then come back together and awaken to what's really important in life, and the mother who's not she hasn't fulfilled her creative potential of being an artist. She's just a mother, and she's like looking for something more. And it's about how this weekend away kind of awakens all of that. And then Wayne Dye's commenting on all of it while all of this is unfolding. It's really, really well done. It's a great movie. Highly recommend
yeah,
that.
yeah, because I watched it probably 15 years ago, maybe. Or maybe
Yeah,
you did
back
it
when it came
sooner,
out.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching again. And you're a different life stage, so some of what he's saying will
yeah,
resonate more. So the key message of yesterday's lesson and workbook and text reading taken together is that our only function is to forgive or let go of our false belief in separation that inevitably leads us to accept the truth of who we really are and what reality is. Because when we let go of our belief in the false, what remains will only be the truth. It's only this acceptance of reality as it truly is that can make us happy. Anything else we desire is really a desire for nothing in the form of apparently something, which is an impossible wish that can never bring us authentic happiness. So giving up all of the ego's idle or false wishes and accepting only reality in our minds will inevitably lead us to shift from ambition, which is the desire to achieve certain specific worldly goals in the deluded belief that achieving them will really make us happy, to meaning, which comes from love and extending love in all our words and actions. And this shift will also inevitably lead to us following a higher purpose based on truly serving others than the ego's self-gratifying ambition can conceive of. And living this purpose moment by moment is integral to our happiness and peace of mind. So, when something like a potential job loss comes along, the ego is terrified and goes, "Oh my God, it's all changing and it's very scary." But the Holy Spirit's saying, "No, this is the opportunity for your higher purpose to unfold and for you to start living a much more inspired life, dedicated to truly extending love and serving others in whatever way that is for you. Your higher purpose is your unique way, given your talents, abilities, circumstances, and life experience, to serve loving awareness. How does that look for you? How do you serve it in your own unique way? So it's the same loving awareness as everyone else has access to, but it's expressed in a specific way for you, and that's your special function or your higher purpose. And when you find that, then you find your flow, then you find your true purpose in life, which will unfold often when the old purpose has to disintegrate. So often it needs a change in circumstances to facilitate this, as as he says in the course. Well, only for teachers, the plan will sometimes call upon, where were we? Period of undoing need not be painful, but usually is so experienced because it seems like things are being taken away. And it's really understood initially that their lack of value is merely being recognized. So we can't yet make the shift entirely internally. So then the plan calls for changes in what seem to be external circumstances, so that inner shift is facilitated by what's happening in the outer world. And that so often happens. That's the normal way it happens. Someone's going through a major shift of external circumstances, then this is part of their spiritual awakening. But they don't recognize it at first. It just seems to be painful. So knowing this now, you can go, okay, I know what's going on. So it's not really untoward. It's not anything scary. It's just part of the process I've got to go through. Okay, so let's go back to where we were. Yeah, so this was a really good session, if I recall, how to make the shift from ambition to meaning. So just listening or watching that as well as watching the movie.
Was that session
Hmm?
based on the movie, or was it just discussing the topic?
Yeah, so we discussed the movie as part of it, and we discussed its themes, how to make the shift from ambition to meaning. I've given you a little summary of what we discussed. So given that this is exactly what you're dealing with at the moment in your life, just listen, and often what happens then, something will be in the movie or in this discussion that's just there for you, that you go, oh, okay, yeah, that really resonated. And this is how the Holy Spirit works, through these channels. So watch it with an open mind. Say, okay, well, show me what I need to be shown in this. All right, so that brings us to our live session.
Things. Sorry, okay. We're just talking about like strength and health. I think 1 or 2 days ago, something popped up for me on YouTube of this a little, one of those shorts. There's this woman who's 100 years old, but she was she does an exercise class, and they show her doing a plank, holding for like, I think 3 or 5 minutes. So it was okay, it wasn't like that, but it was like that on the floor. Holding it. I'll try to find it and send it to you, but I was like, sure, if I could, I mean, just to live to 100, but most people, like, I'm sure, are confined to wheelchairs. I mean, this lady, okay, it wasn't like jumping, but it was like,
she's moving.
Class.
Because use it or lose it.
Yeah, I'm sure, but like her face didn't look like, certainly didn't look like she was 100. So she's her youth, it was, but just the movement and the strength.
Because she's obviously kept herself active by doing yoga and whatever else. And then if you keep yourself active, it keeps the mind active, but it also keeps the muscles. The last thing you want to do is start becoming sedentary as you get older, because your muscles just atrophy and they waste away. you gotta keep using them, use it or lose it. So all of these yeah, there's people who do it, and there's no reason. Why do you need to get sick and decrepit? You don't. You could be fit and healthy till the day you die. It's possible. So the question is, will you do what's needed now? Get into the habits. It's about establishing these habits now and go, okay, yes. So I do that regularly, and I've got all these habits, and if I keep doing them, they're going to support me in having a healthy, vital rest of my life. Because if you're 50, you might have another 50 years. If you live to
Yeah,
100, another 50 years of life. Well, you don't want to be decrepit and aged, and the idea that you finished at 70 now, I mean, we know that's ridiculous. At 70, you can still be fit, strong, healthy, active, vital, alive. So, just follow the guidance, listen to the inspiration. You see these things on YouTube and so on, they obviously saw it for a reason. It's like, okay, well, let me start doing, more of that, more yoga, stretching.
yes, and strength training for
Yeah,
the masses. I'm
yeah,
at that age.
yeah,
It's okay. And like I said,
yeah,
if I want to be a mom, I have to be strong and young and pick up children. I keep them,
yeah,
yeah, like it's like I'm gonna have to
yeah,
do that.
yeah,
I have to
yeah,
get the muscles to do it.
yeah.
I have to
Which
look
is,
after this naughty
yeah,
child.
yeah. Which
So,
gives you a reason to stay healthy. Just
I definitely, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to stay healthy. Lots of
yeah. Well,
benefits.
health is an expression of a healthy mind.
Mm.
Healthy body, healthy mind. Mens sana in corpore sano, which is foundation actually of medicine. This is what Hippocrates taught. He was the founder of Western medicine. It was all about the mind. He understood the connection between the mind and the body. So this deviation that we've had in the last couple of 100 years, where they try and disconnect the mind from the body and treat the body as some kind of machine separate from the mind, that was never the case at the start of medicine. Hippocrates, who's acknowledged as the founder of Western medicine, was very much saying, it's mens sana in corpore sano, healthy mind and a healthy body. If your mind is sick, then the body's going to be sick. Mind is healthy, then the body, follows suit, because the mind is the primary driver of health. This is what Western medicine is just starting to acknowledge now. But, it's all in the mind first. Whatever body conditions you have on expression of the mind. So change your mind, and you can change anything. But then that sort of undoes a lot of what they teach in terms of the mechanistic nature of medicine. And okay, well, you've got to do these treatments and have the drugs and do the treatment because that's the only way of getting better. Well, no, it's not. There's with Anita Mojani, it obviously was an extreme case, but it was bizarre that her oncologist insisted that she recovered because of chemotherapy. You know that. That's what the guy said.
Yeah.
And that just shows you how attached the medical profession is to that to the medical system, to the whole scientific materialist paradigm that it's based on. So she's had this phenomenal, miraculous. I mean, she was literally on death's door. They're saying, "Say your goodbyes." She is going to die in the next 24 hours. She goes into coma. She has this ND. She comes back, and her tumors just start disappearing. They could not explain it. And he's going, "Oh no, the chemo kicked in at an advanced stage." I mean, it's totally ridiculous and absurd. And she's telling you she's had this NDE and it was really life-changing and healing. And okay, so you're just going to ignore that and you're going to insist that it was the chemo, which she last had, I think a couple of weeks before, because they just stopped giving it to her because all her organs were failing. So it was like, okay, she's beyond, what chemo can help. But it just shows you the level of blind adherence to the ego's mindset in the face of, such a miraculous evidence of something else, still didn't want to see it. So our job is just to be open to it. Say, okay, well, I'm open to thinking differently and open to these life-changing ideas in the course. Speaking of which, that leads us into today's workbook lesson. So there we go. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, so this is lesson 65, I believe we're on. Let's go into the document. So if you can read that in the original and alternative form, and then I've put in some of Elaine's illustrations. So read the next one about the priestess.
Oh, okay. My only function is the one God gave me. My only function is the one pure formless awareness of perfect love gives me.
So a couple of changes there. God is pure formless awareness of perfect love. That's the major one. And instead of gave, it's gives, because it's not past tense. It's, it actually gives it to me moment by moment in the present moment. Because this is my own true nature, my own fundamental awareness, from which my thoughts and my emotions are arising moment by moment. So this function, it's giving it to me all the time in the present moment. Makes it much more present than gave me. Yeah, and then it talks about the priestess in the next one. So I thought I'd include that. So read that.
There is an ancient priestess in us as well, who wants nothing more than to perform her function. All she wants is to stand up and radiate the light of forgiveness to the world. She is innocence itself. Her face is gentle and full of compassion. She has been lying in chains in the basement, forgotten for millennia. However, the choices we are making are allowing her to begin to rise from those chains. And as she does, the joyous possibility that we could have our function back rises with her. If we realized that she is rising and how momentous that is, we would join Helen in repeating, how wonderful, oh, how wonderful.
Helen being Helen Schuckman, the
Oh,
scribe.
yeah, so, okay. I was like, is Helen the priestess? Okay.
Well, she did have when she started having these experiences just prior to the course teaching actually coming through from Jesus. She started having dreams of herself as dressed in white robes as some kind of priestess. She saw herself as some kind, which you might say that was a vision, or maybe it was a past life. We don't know. But there was something going on, and she was like, okay, this is, slightly strange and abnormal in the lead up to the course starting to be dictated to her. She had 6 months of spiritual experiences preparing her for, the task that was to come. And then finally, Jesus just spoke to her and said, this is the Course in Miracles. Please take notes. Okay, then, I guess. She's like, oh my God, what? What's going on? I'm hearing a voice. Am I going crazy? So she phones Bill Thetford and goes like, Bill, is this normal? What's going on? And he was quite calming. He just said, well, why don't you write down what it says and bring in what you've written in the morning and to work, and we'll take a look at it. And that's how the course started. And that's when she got given I think it was the introduction to the text. This is the Course in Miracles.
He stopped writing.
The title, yeah, and then just started writing. Then he's like, wow, Helen, this is really good stuff. No disrespect, but you didn't write it. She says, yeah, no, I didn't write it. That's what's freaking me out. Like, what's writing it? You can imagine. And they were, she was a Jewish atheist, who is pretty highly strung and certainly not spiritual in any sense of the word. And then this kind of stuff starts happening. So if it can happen for Helen, it can happen for anyone. That's really the point. He chose the most unlikely couple to bring it into manifestation. But it just shows you God can use anyone. She obviously had a gift for that. She was chosen because she could download it and describe it. And she also had, because she was academic, they knew how to produce documents, and they took it seriously. If you'd given it to some hippie, would have been, oh well, I'll just lose the manuscript and I won't get it published. And they had to be them. He chose them for a reason. Okay, then read the next one. We have a God-given function.
We didn't read the last paragraph.
Oh, didn't we? Sorry. Yeah, to allow the
So it
precepts.
sets in us to be free from her chains. We need to not forget her. We need to remember our function as the light of the world.
Yeah. What a great message for you, isn't it? There you go. Remember your function. Your function is to be the light of the world. So how do you be the light of the world? Well, you can't do it of yourself. You have to let the light shine through you and surrender to that light and just be guided by the light. And if the light says, well, you've got to leave your job, then that's what you've got to do. And it will orchestrate it so that, your function can unfold. You just got to trust the process. Okay, and the next one, we have a God-given function.
We have a God-given function. We are called to be saviors of the world through our forgiveness. This lesson makes clear this function is destined to displace all the normal functions that fill our days, such that many of them will disappear and the rest will become vehicles for our one function. As we sit down to eat, then that priestess is in us is thinking, I'm just filling up my vehicle at the gas station so I can use it to give light to the world. And as we greet the plumber at the door, priestess is praying, let me use my interaction with him to shine light into his mind. In other words, no matter what we are doing, the priestess is using it to carry out the one and only function of salvation.
Yeah, so thoughts on that?
Yeah. So in terms of our day-to-day activity or what we consider functions for our days, they really will become secondary to our one function, which is our main function, which is to be the light of the world. And that function is to play a role to kind of functions that, I guess in this case, filling up our fuel, which is something to keep our bodies going, we need to eat.
Yeah.
Is really just is kind of ancillary to our function. Our number one function is to be the light of the world. And
Yeah.
this example is to, our interactions with others is to be that light. Just like to know how let me use my interaction with him to shine light into his mind. I'm just wondering what that interaction would look like. Like
So it could just look like, well, you just kind, you have a chat to the plumber, there's a bit of connection, talk to him, there's some humor, there's some jokes, and there's a connection. And the plumber's like, oh wow, you just made my day. In fact, that happened once to Deborah. I don't think it was a plumber, it was an electrician or something. and he came, and she was just kind of, normal, nice to him, had a bit of a chat, gave him a cup of tea. And he said, "Oh, that's fine. I won't charge you VAT. Thanks. You really made my day." Because she just engaged with him as connected. And he wasn't treated as, "Oh, you're just a workman and I'm not going to give you any time or attention." There's a connection because he's a human being. He's a Christ. And every interaction is the opportunity to experience that for both people. So your most trivial functions, you can have an interaction with someone at the like a plumber, or you could be at a supermarket, or all these little interactions we have. The purpose of that interaction is to shine the light of the world into that person's mind. And that might just be a smile, a bit of banter, a kind word, it's like, and then you've been the light of the world. It's so normal, it's so unremarkable that we forget that, that's what this practice is. It's just the going about your daily life and being kind and loving and helpful and generous, rather than selfish and arrogant and attacking and unkind. And it's just moment by moment. You can do that with anyone you interacting with. It's a choice. But you have to remember, it's very easy in your stress. You go, "Oh, I'm just busy and this person's in the way," and then you can be short to them
Yeah,
because you're busy, or it's not happening quick enough, and then hang on,
yeah,
you haven't fulfilled your true function in the situation, which is to be the light of the world. You've just denied that, and you've blocked
yeah,
the light, and you've been part of the ego's story then, and the ego is now using you to fulfill its function in the world. So these lessons are really about helping us to remember. And he repeats them because it's like, because we're prone to forget. Yesterday's was, "Let me not forget my function." Today's a repetition of the same idea. My only function is the one pure formless awareness of perfect love gives me. It's just a variation of the theme. It's about remembering that function in the face of all the temptations to forget it. And the world is the temptation to forget your true function. All right, so shall we read?
this picture, I kind of think of the late Pope, I must say.
Hmm?
I don't know, that image, if you scroll a little bit more,
Which one?
talking
Up?
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one kind
Yeah.
of reminds me of the late Pope.
Which image?
I think that Savior, but way he's spoken about,
hmm.
well,
Yeah,
it
I
was
mean,
very,
it sounds like he's a genuinely spiritual man who had
yeah,
a lot of love and forgiveness and kindness.
forgiveness, yeah,
Yeah.
and also was very much like was connected to help, you know, the poor, or I mean, I'm using the phrases poor, destitute, marginalized,
Hmm.
you know, you just see these images of him with people, and um yeah, it does evoke that. When I see that, it does evoke that for me as
Yeah.
relate.
Yeah.
Because
So
I know there's like that show there's as
he
a
played his role, he fulfilled his function in that role of
yeah,
being the Pope. But most of us won't ever become the Pope, but we can just do it in
yeah, yeah,
our daily lives, in
yeah,
our normal interactions. And we're prone to forget it. It's easy to forget our true purpose, which is why these lessons are there to help us remember it. Okay, so your purpose in the supermarket is, yes, you're buying food and other supplies for your household, but your real purpose is to spread the light. And remember that, that person serving you, or the person in the queue, it's about spreading the light in those interactions. And it can be just a simple kindness. You say, okay, well, you jump ahead of me in the queue because I've got less stuff, or to the cashier who's doing it. Oh, have a little smile. Thanks so much. There was a guy actually in one of the supermarkets here, and it really struck me. He was so warm, so helpful, so positive. It was one of these self-service, they have self-service things here where you go
Yeah.
and you check out yourself and you scan it, but it usually needs some assistance because inevitably something goes wrong. It doesn't scan properly and it's got to weigh it. So you put it in and then it's got to weigh it. And then sometimes it doesn't get the weight right and then it freezes up. Or there's this particular supermarket, the specials, it has to be manually done. If it's 30% off, he has to come and do it manually. But just like the presence of this guy, he was so helpful and so kind. I was like, it really stood out. I was like, yeah, there's someone who's fulfilling his function. Probably not, let's say, consciously aware of that. He's probably not a Course in Miracles student, but there's something in him that is taking this kindness and this positive energy into his, you could say, fairly mundane job, but he's spreading the light because every interaction he has with a customer is the opportunity to show this. And I'm like, that's exactly the kind of employee you would love to have, right? If all we
Yeah.
could have, thousands of those employees that have a phenomenal organization. But he's probably, one in a 100, maybe 1 in 1,000, because that's unusual. Do you find someone who's that connected? Um, but it's there. And so there he's just doing he's doing a job. And you could just be like, oh well, I'm a bit kind of, this is such a dead end job and it's going nowhere. But he's bringing his power and his inspiration to the job and being the light of the world in that. And so it's always possible, whatever the job is, whatever the interaction is, but it's remembering it. It's remembering that that's our true function, and that's the only function that's going to bring us happiness. You'll only be happy when you're in the light yourself and you're spreading the light. You're never going to be happy if you're dark and you're contracted. That's happiness doesn't ever come from that. All right, so let's read this, shall we? We'll speed it up a bit. There's not much to translate here. So salvation just becomes awakening. That's about it, I think. The translation. Just read an alternative.
The idea for today reaffirms my commitment to awakening. It also reminds me that I have no function other than that. Both these thoughts are obviously necessary for total commitment. Awakening cannot be the only purpose I hold while I still value others. The full acceptance of awakening as my only function necessarily entails two phases: the recognition of awakening as my function and the letting go of all other goals I have invented for myself.
Yeah, so what's he saying there?
It's reaffirming the function, which is to awaken. That's our primary function. So that's the function, and we don't have any other functions other than that. So that's what we are to value and not value other functions.
Yeah, and this is the true meaning and the true purpose of your life. There's only one function. Now, your ego is going to dispute that. Ego is going to give you all kinds of other functions and purposes, but this is saying no, there is only one in truth, and only by following this function have you any chance of being happy and being one of the saviors of the world. And he goes on, this is the only way in which you can take your rightful place among the saviors of the world. You read the alternative.
This is the only way in which I can take my rightful place among the awakeners of the world. This is the only way in which I can say and really mean my only function is the one pure formless awareness of perfect love gives me. This is the only way in which I can find peace of mind.
It's really clear, isn't it? I mean, he's saying there's only one way. There's not multiple ways to find happiness and peace. There's one way. And that's to let go. You have to let go of your ego's judgments and attachments, expectations, desires. Letting go of forgiveness is the only way, which makes it really, really clear. There's no equivocation, there's no ambiguity. He's telling us exactly what's going to work and what's not going to work. Just to do it means, you've got to discipline your mind. To fulfill this function requires a disciplined mind. You can't just listen to the ego, do whatever it asks you to do. All right, so just read number 3 then. It's just a precursor, some instructions to the lesson. Setting aside 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Try to understand and accept what the idea for the day really means. And then just read it from number 2, Kim. Today's idea offers me escape.
Today's idea offers me escape from all my perceived difficulties. It places the key to the door of peace, which I have closed upon myself in my own hands. Gives me the answer to all the searching I have done since time began.
Well, that's pretty profound. I mean, saying, okay, one idea and do all of that. I mean, he's saying, pay attention to this. Now, that's actually the case for any of these workbook lesson ideas. Each one does this. If you really and truly believe that, hold to it, and apply it, it's completely life-changing. This one idea, if you really apply that without exception to your life, my only function is the one God or pure formless awareness with perfect love gives me. And you remember that in every situation, it's going to radically change your mind and your life, isn't it? Because you're going to interpret every situation differently.
Yeah.
And then he just talks about trying to arrange your day so you have a bit of structure and discipline. And the purpose of this is to arrange your day so that you make the time for perfect love, for God in your day. So we've discussed it before, but morning and evening, morning meditation before you get up and begin the business of the day, where you practice the lessons, a very good idea. And then doing it in the evening, just before you go to sleep, because it's letting go of whatever has come up. It's setting yourself into a good space before sleep. And that's what he's saying. As part of the long-range disciplinary training your mind needs, as remembrance of perfect love can use it consistently for the purpose it shares with me. So a bit of coaching on, okay, a bit of structure, a bit of discipline required, which he does from time to time in the workbook. Because it's not just the teachings, it's how you practice the teachings. Teachings are wonderful, but if you never practice them, you don't follow his instructions to practice them, then you're not going to learn very much, are you? But a disciplined practice where you're doing morning and evening means that you've already practiced and understood that lesson for that day. Okay, so that brings us to the actual practice of the lesson. Do you want to do that in a meditation?
Okay.
I'll guide you through that, and we'll call it quits after that, shall we?
Yeah.
Quite late there, but this will be a nice pre-bed med for you and your evening meditation, evening practice of the lesson. Okay, so just making yourself comfortable. You're sitting with your feet shoulder width apart, your back straight. Up your hands in your lap. Close your eyes. And you start off with a nice deep breath in through the nose. Breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause at the top of the inhale. Maximal inhale breath. Paints the sphincter muscle. It's the muscle used to contract the flow of urine. Just locks the energy in. Pulls the energy up the spine. Feel like this warm wave of energy is rising up. Spine into crown to your heart center. Pause, smile, scan your mind. So just begin by reviewing the idea for the day. So my only function is the one God or pure formless awareness of perfect love gives me. Repeat the idea to yourself once again. Only function is the one that pure formless awareness of perfect love gives me. I want no other, and I need no other. Try to uncover each thought that arises to interfere with this thought. Any blocks to the awareness of love's presence, as Yeshua calls them. Note each one as it comes to you in a very detached way. There's no involvement or concern. Just watching it in this very objective way. And then dismiss it by telling yourself, this thought reflects a goal that is preventing me from accepting my only function. Exhale, blow it all out. The breeze of your breath like a dark cloud or a black smoke. Leaving you. Just imagine that thought is gone. It's just been released from your mind, from your energy system. It's no longer there. Maybe you get to a point of clarity. So noticing interfering thoughts are harder to find. Again, just breathe in and search your mind for any interfering thoughts that are not in alignment with this lesson, distract you, that cause you to focus on body, on form, on the past or the future. Those are great distracting thoughts because we know past and future don't really exist. Only the now exists. There's really only what's here now. Try to get a sense of that as you sink inward. Breathing in and out through your nose. Sinking deeper and deeper with each breath. Any other idle thoughts, false thoughts come up for you, just remind yourself that I will let my true function be written on this clean slate for me. And let my true function be written on this clean slate for me. You don't need to use these exact words, but try to get the sense of being willing to have your illusions of purpose be replaced by truth. And finally, just repeat the idea for today once more. So Only function is the one, pure form is the one, as perfect love gives me. And devote the rest of the practice period focusing on its importance to you. Think about the idea. Think how relieving it is to accept this idea is true. You have one function, one purpose, one meaning, and only one in your life. All the ego's false purposes just fade away and disappear. In the light of this truth. Remind yourself that you really do want freedom. You want to wake up from the dream of limitation, scarcity, sickness, and death. I really want freedom in spite. Remind yourself that you really do want freedom in spite of your own foolish ideas to the contrary. Exhale on the truth of this. Just blow out. Any negative thoughts or emotions. Let them all go. The nothingness they really are. Blowing them all away, they're going. Going, gone. Just sink inwards into the quiet, still, calm, peaceful awareness. That this lesson points to. There's nowhere else to go, there's nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe in and out through your nose, relax, be still. Surrender to the truth. Breath, breathing in and out through your nose. Going deeper and deeper with each breath. It's quiet, calm, sacred state. Let's feel into the state. This is, to be in the state is your true function. Function is to let go of anything that blocks your awareness of this state. Stay connected, stay in the state. Just a little time here. Into eternity. So it prepares you for kingdom of heaven. Stays in which everything just flows. Just be quiet. Be quiet for a minute or two. Don't think about anything. Just breathe. You can observe the breath. Relax. Be still. The mind wants to wander and chatter. Just refocus all your attention on the breath. Going deeper into this awareness with each breath. Those arise in your mind, in your own awareness. Ultimately, there is no difference between your awareness and it. Same awareness. Just rest in this awareness, rest in God. As it's been called God, or a formless awareness of perfect love. Gently coming back from this deep state of awareness into an awareness of your body, and the breath, senses, and the world. And on the count of three, you're going to open your eyes. So one, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. That'll flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause, scan your mind. Again, just observe any thoughts that get in the way of today's idea. And your function is the one that God or pure fullness awareness, perfect love gives me. So any other ideas, any other functions, goals, any attack thoughts, fear, anxiety, sadness, and so on. These are all just interferences in your true function, which is to be the light of the world, to let go of darkness and embrace the world, embrace the truth. So count to two, exhale, just letting go of any of these interferences, blowing them away like dark clouds or black smoke, leaving you in your body, your mind, your energy system, they're going, gone. Follow our stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out and rest. Bottom of the exhale in this exquisite stillness and peace for a few moments. Relish this stillness and peace. Sink into it, experience it. Count of two, won't notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, feet touching the ground, noticing what you're feeling, touching hands. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, a smell in your nose. Notice that as you breathe in. Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. So notice from this clear state of awareness, pure formless awareness. There's no judgment. Whatever you're observing is just is. Just let it be. Anchor the state in. It's very peaceful, calm, awakened state. Set the intention to stay here for the rest of your evening, the night, and on into tomorrow and the rest of the week. So I just said, so it is done. Three. Now open your eyes. Just look around. Take a minute just to look around, observing everything in this very clear, calm, aware state. Notice how clear and calm you are. This awareness of your function is there, and nothing really needs to disturb you. So you can observe everything. Sense perceptions are still going on, but this deeper awareness is there. It's underlying everything, and you can just rest in this awareness. This awareness, which is your true nature, can carry you through. And so it is. Amen. So that brings us to the end of the meditation and of tonight's session. So thank you, Kim, for that.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I'm tired. Oh.
Thank you for all the talk and discussion earlier as well.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. So just keep that in mind and trust the process. It's going to be, it's all part of that awakening process for you. So it's all perfect in its imperfection, whatever happens. All right, so we'll yeah, let's speak later in the week. Can join tomorrow if you want. Elaine's going to be joining a session tomorrow at 7 your time, so you can join if you want. Doing it anyway, so feel free. Otherwise, I'll see you probably next week sometime.
Jana, namaste.
Okay, namaste.
Okay, night.
Now,
Bye.
bye. Okay, so that is a wrap for today. Thank you to Kim for joining. If you enjoyed the session, and there's a couple of things you can do. Go to lifebuild.com. You can sign up to my Telegram group to receive daily inspirational quotes like you saw today, and some commentary on them with some resources, daily lesson in its original translated form from Course in Miracles, as well as a recorded meditation to help you, to guide you through practicing the lesson today, and invitations to join these live sessions with the Zoom links. So you can also join us via the Telegram group in Zoom. I include the links every day once you've signed up to the group. And if nothing else, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel and you enjoyed this, then hit the subscribe button, and you'll be notified whenever I go live, which is 2 or 3 times a week. So you'll be notified about the live stream, and you can catch the recording if you don't do the live stream. So yeah, I hope to connect with you on the inside of one of these sessions very soon. Thanks for listening, watching, and namaste. Which means the true peaceful self in me acknowledges and honors that same true peaceful self in you.